Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to Real Reds Talk, an authentic football fan. Only just afternoon, by the way. 5 minutes just into the afternoon. So, a good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to Real Reds Talk, an authentic football fan channel dedicated to Manchester United. This is your Saturday news show with me and Shreyas. A little bit of a surprise news show, but some people have been talking some shit, Shreyas, so we have to discuss it. Aside from that, how's your weekend been so far?
Yeah, it's going well, pretty well. It's been a good day so far. Then I, came across the quotes and the comments that have been actually, thrown around. So it made, much more sense to come back on stream.
Yeah, there's been some absolute dribble being put out there, which we're certainly going to touch. That coming from Southgate and Harry Maguire today, so we'll definitely dive into them quotes. Sheikh Jassim has finally put his improved bid in. What does this mean for the future of the club? And we're going to discuss how the United lads got on during the international break. Well, the international fixtures last night, there's been some very good ones and then some a little bit worrying ones and a couple of quotes coming out from that as well. So, as always, make sure you smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel and share to your friends. If you've got any friends who are interested in football and they love podcasts, they love that kind of setting, you know what to do. Share the channel, let them know about it. And if you want to become a Real Red Ultra for the price of a pulled pint, you'll get exclusive content, a badge next to your name, and a chance to appear on the show. You can do that by clicking the join button next to the notification bell. And be sure to get your comments in as we go through the topics on the table. So let's dive into this nonsense then, Shreyas. We'll start with Marcus Rashford. Time Sports have reported, this is the quote that came out. So Gareth Southgate has hinted at a frustration with Marcus Rashford's regular withdrawals from England squads, saying a player cannot be considered a loss if they are rarely present. Now, that's funny in it, Shreyas, because he was ever present at the World Cup. He was ever present in form, and instead of being present on the pitch, he was bounded by the bench, wasn't he?
Yeah, and I think he was ever present during the Euros as well. I mean, it is Southgate who actually never picks him. He picks him for cameos. I still think if Rashford was given more of a chance during the World Cup, they would have gone much deeper into the competition, because Rashford, the kind of form he was in, he just needed, 1 second to actually score a goal. Like from anywhere on the pitch, he could actually score a goal. That's the kind of form that he was in. And even when he came on against France, he almost scored that free kick, and it was a really, really great strike. And except that as well, throughout the tournament, Rashford just looked really sharp, really impactful whenever he came on. And for me, I didn't see anyone near to his level playing off that winger position. Probably you could say that Saka was doing an incredible job, but I don't think that players like Raheem Sterling or Jack Grealish were anywhere near to the level of Marcus Rashford during the course of this tournament, and I would even say during the course of this season. So I think once again with Gareth Southgate, it has always been the situation wherein you can call out his player favoritism, which a lot of people have been seeing for quite some time. I don't think anyone can imagine someone like Fikayo Tomori, not even being picked for the World Cup and going in for players like Conor Cody, Harry Maguire, players who haven't played that much, players who have, they've genuinely fell down the pecking order at their clubs. They're not really having a good season and are really struggling. And then you've got a player who's been doing, and who's having an absolute mental season with AC Milan, is arguably one of the top prospects for the great centre backs in Europe at the moment, and he's not even being picked for the tournament. And I think it's the same with Rashford as well. We saw it with Sancho during the Euros as well. Sancho was never given an opportunity, even though he had a very good season at Dortmund. I think he got 20 goals and 20 assists, like 40 goals and assists in a season. So, and not even getting picked. Like, I think the only minutes he got during the tournament was with Ukraine, and that was for even just 15 or 20 minutes. So the thing with Gareth Southgate is he picks the player he wants to. Even now, I think even if he had a fit Rashford with him, he would rather go with players like Raheem Sterling to play instead of him. I would even say that he could pick players like Jared Bowen ahead of Marcus Rashford rather than picking Marcus Rashford. So I really don't know as to what kind of logic he's coming up with, that Rashford is never present. Even when he's present, he's never gotten an opportunity to actually play for him.
It's like, I don't know if the saying you can't have your cake and eat it, because he chooses to have favourites consistently and not pick the informed players. So then how can he moan that they're not, having his 100% commitment towards being there when he's not picking him, even when they're in form. You can't really blame the players. Yeah. It's not like that he hasn't got a multi-talented squad either, do you know what I mean? You look at them attacking. How many times have we discussed Trey has?
Yeah.
He's got Jack Grealish, Ivan Toney, Harry Kane, Marcus Rashford, Bukayo Saka, Phil Foden. Probably ones I'm forgetting, like an insane depth. James Maddison. Like, come on, you're not going to miss him for a fucking, do you know what I mean? I know he's considered important because it's a European qualifier against Italy. It's obviously a massive game. But you won the game anyway.
Yeah.
Even with 10 men, you still won the game. So, just coming out, how is this coming out with a quote like this going to benefit you at all?
Was Tammy Abraham picked for the World Cup?
No, well, no.
I think Callum Wilson was instead of him. So,
yeah. So, and there's many other players in them situations we've discussed where we pushing like Tomori, you mentioned yourself, and we're going to get onto Maguire's quotes at a minute. But I just think in general, Trey, any international manager should look at the amount of games Marcus Rashford has played from just a single point of view and understand, if anything, it'll be beneficial, won't it?
Exactly. It definitely would. And I think if we, take out nationalities, I think Rashford right now, if you talk national teams, he could play in any single one of them. Like any manager out there, if they could get their hands on Marcus Rashford, they would, because he's in really, really hot form right now. Of course, I think he's picked up a knock. He's been playing non-stop as well for the for the past 3 to 4 months now. He's been playing every 3 days, and still the numbers that he's generating, like other players, they actually get 4 to 5 days off, perhaps even a week off at times. But these Manchester United players, especially Marcus Rashford, being picked in every single game, genuinely, playing the full 90 as well in every single one of those games. Like Marcus Rashford, I think out of all the players in our attack, he is the player who doesn't really get, taken off no matter how the game is progressing. Like, he is there. Weghorst might get taken off. Anthony might get taken off. Rashford is never getting taken off that pitch. And that just shows, the kind of impact that he can bring. He might have a really bad game, but within 5 seconds, he can just turn it around, get a couple of goals, and just change the complete picture of the game. And that's why I really don't understand as to what kind of how Gareth Southgate is coming up with these sort of quotes, because I think the kind of squad that England has had, if he played the correct system, if he played better football, probably England would have won the past 2 out of 4 tournaments.
Well, I'm seeing the videos and pictures of Rashford out in New York with his girlfriend, and I'm sat there, I'm kind of feeling happy for him, because I'm like, you need it.
Yeah.
You need that break. And Bruno Fernandes needs a similar thing. He played 89 minutes against Liechtenstein in a 4-0 win.
Yeah.
So I think, did he really need to play? He was only 3-0 up by half-time, whatever it was. You don't need to play him for that long. Like, even Portugal, they've got rotation in that midfield. They've got João Felix, who can play there. They've got loads of people who can play
Felix,
there.
Bernardo Silva, they've got Vitinha. They've got great quality and depth in that squad.
That's my point. Like, I understand if you haven't got depth there and it might, drop significantly, but is it really dropping if you put João Felix there? Is it really dropping if you put Bernardo Silva there? It's not, is it? And he's still going to get a job done against Liechtenstein. So
definitely,
it doesn't make sense for me. I'm saying we have to call Bruno Fernandes' new name is Bruno Farah.
Yeah.
The amount of running that he does. So I think that's perfect for him, because he just laps people, doesn't he, when it comes to stamina. So fair play to him. Moving on to the next kind of bullshit quote that's come out, excuse my language, in the afternoon. But so I'll start with a strong one, which is the first thing. This is literally the first thing I read when I woke up, by the way, and I was like, what the fuck is he on about? So Maguire's put, in my last 9 starts for United, we have won. I can't remember losing a game for United, so my influence is still there. Let me just repeat that. In my last 9 starts for United, we have won. I can't remember losing a game for United, so my influence is still there.
I can't remember him starting a game for us, like the way he can't remember losing. Secondly, the games he was being picked in, he was being picked in cup games. The one game where he actually started for us in the Europa League, we ended up losing to Real Sociedad, ended up getting, pushed down into second position. He is no longer the captain of the club. He is only the captain for show. Even when he's on the pitch, no one actually responds to him the way, these players actually respond to Bruno Fernandes. Like, say, a lot of things can be said about Bruno, about his attitude, but the way he conducts himself on the pitch as a leader, it shows in the team, and they actually respond to him as well. And it flows in, through the entire squad as well. That this person is actually leading them from the front. So these are four things. Except that he doesn't work in the system. I still think his passing has been shocking at times. The way he plays out from the back, he takes too long to pass out from the ball, and in games where he started along, Lisandro Martinez, the only thing that has come out of that game is that, Lisandro Martinez is levels above Harry Maguire. That's the only thing that I can take out from those sort of games. The way Lisandro Martinez can pass the ball out from the back, and, it just takes him a split second to pass the ball. And his passing is really, really good. And except that, even when we are being hit on the counter attack, he's very vulnerable. He's very, very vulnerable. I think he needs that sort of partner who can actually do that job for him, which, just reinforces the question as to what Maguire actually does on the pitch. Because if you depend on your other centre back so much, you're actually acting like a liability on the pitch, and that's the one thing that Varane and even Lindelof actually eliminate. They don't really depend on Lisandro Martinez; they complement him as well. Because even Lisandro, in certain situations, even Lisandro might make a bad judgment, and they need you in that situation. You need your partner centre back to actually make up for it. And Harry Maguire cannot do that job. We cannot play a high line with Harry Maguire. Whenever he plays, whether it's Aaron Wan-Bissaka or whether it is Diogo Dalot, they cannot progress forward. They are tucked back. They cannot move forward, because if they do move forward, there will be a gigantic hole which can be easily exposed and exploited. So, yeah, if he, actually takes playing against Charlton Athletic, Bournemouth, or Nottingham Forest as games where you can, that my influence is there, probably, I think he is in a big delusion. He's genuinely is, in a very, very big delusion, because the fact that, let's just go around the order as to, Ten Hag centre backs and how he picks them. So Lisandro and Varane are the starting centre backs for us whenever they're fit. Then you've got Victor Lindelof. Then you've got Luke Shaw who plays in there. We've even seen Casemiro being played in there. So Harry Maguire is sixth choice centre back.
Yeah, and I really want to be measured in this. I remember before we went live on Paddock, I said when we was live at the start, they were discussing Harry Maguire, and I said I feel like sometimes he just gets scapegoated and slagged off for no reason. Sometimes some people take it like into the personal realms and start slagging off his family. It's like, which obviously I don't agree with. But I said I feel like he gets scapegoated quite a lot. But when he's coming out with quotes like this, it's hard to stick up for him. You know what I mean? It's hard for him to say, "Oh, maybe he will get his move. Maybe he will go somewhere else. Maybe he will do well."
Why it also happens during every single international break? Like every single international break. The last time,
just to yap off.
I think the last time he went on international break, he said something like, "David De Gea doesn't really understand English, so there is a communication error at the back. He's a Spanish goalkeeper, so."
What was the other quote he had? He had another quote that everyone looked at. It was United won it after a game, and he said, "Oh well, I'm starting every game, so I must be doing something right."
The coach is picking me every single game, so I must be doing something right.
Oh my God! I remember reading that quote. Like, you really can't read the room, can you?
Exactly.
You really can't see what's going on. And them games you alluded to before, I actually searched it up, Treyas. So he played against Fulham in the FA Cup, was average. He played against Betis in a game that was already won.
Yeah.
He was shit against West Ham in the Cup. He was average against Leeds. He started against Reading, Charlton, Bournemouth, and Villa. All teams who were either bottom half of the table or Championship, and he wasn't even stand out in them games.
Yeah, even bottom half of the Championship, not even the top half.
This is what I mean. It's like going in an eating competition and saying, "Well, I finished off before you," and he sat there with a bag of crisps. Of course, you're going to be mate. Of course, you are, because you got a little packet of crisps, but I'm sat there eating chips. Like, you know what I mean?
Name me one big game that Maguire has actually started for us this season, like one big game
where we've done well as well. Like, it's you have to go back. You'd have to go back, and even the Villa win that I discussed there when we beat him in the cup, the 4-2. That was the defensively. That was end to end. That was just down to the attack. All over the place.
That was just completely down to the attack and Ten Hag. He changed it in the second half.
Yeah, and then the rest, you think about like the Bournemouth game when we won 3-0. We absolutely battered him. Charlton is Charlton, with all due respect. It's not like
coming back to the Bournemouth game where we won 5-0. Casemiro was the best centre back in that game, not Harry Maguire.
Oh shit! Yeah, did he play centre back in that game?
Yeah, Casemiro played centre back alongside him. So.
Was it Casemiro or was it Luke Shaw who played centre back?
I think it's Casemiro. Casemiro played centre back. I think Luke Shaw played centre back against Nottingham Forest.
Well, you might be right. I don't know. I'd have to go back and look. I didn't look at the actual lineups. I just saw where he started in them games. But I thought that was interesting. Like, it's easy to go, oh, I played fantastic against Accrington Stanley, Forest Green Rovers, and fucking Halifax. You know what I mean? Yeah, of course you did, mate. Because it's, you know, you're Manchester United. How did you do in the game against Madrid in the Champions League? How did you do against these guys? Like, do you know what I'm saying? That's how you measure a player, not off fucking championship games.
I remember the goal. I think it was against Tranmere Rovers where he scored a goal from outside the box. I think it was during Ollie's first full season. Yeah, that rocket, absolute rocket. Crazy. But the thing is, the reason why we know this, the reason why he played so well for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, system that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer had, is very pragmatic. Didn't leave a lot of space in behind. Was kind of tight, crab football. So it suited him. Now Ten Hag's come in, completely exposed his style of play. Completely exposed it. I've got a couple of quotes, a few more quotes coming out here. Not as bad as the first initial one, but that's what I wanted to start off with. Harry Maguire, I also do understand that when you are the captain of United, you do come under the most amount of scrutiny. Last season at club level, my performances weren't good enough alongside everybody else's at the club. So I'll touch on that in a second, that little last bit. For England, yes, I do feel appreciated. Last season was difficult for the club, but I've proven myself to Southgate. I made 50 caps, over 50 caps. I'm England's top scoring defender. That's like Vegor saying I'm the best defensive striker. No sense, makes no sense. I've played nearly 200 times for United. I've captained the club for 3 years. You know, when you read that, Shreyas, it doesn't seem like he could take accountability for his actions, for his ability, actually. You can't take accountability for his ability. Yeah, definitely not. And he's captained us for 3 seasons. Let's just go back to these 3 seasons again. Last season, it was the worst season in the history of the club when he was, leading the team. The season before that, we bottled the Europa League. We bottled the league where we genuinely could have won the league considering the circumstances. And before that, the season was saved by Bruno Fernandes. So in all of those 3 seasons, I can't really say that, Harry Maguire was the player who actually, he was the best player for us in that season, because you could say the season in the Europa League, Luke Shaw was probably one of the best left backs in the league, probably in Europe in that season. In the season before that, Bruno Fernandes was an absolute revelation for us. So in all of those areas, I can't say that Harry Maguire was, one of the top 3 players at the club in any of those 3 seasons.
Yeah, like I said, he made 50 caps for England. The only reason why he's made 50 caps for England is because Southgate always picks him regardless of whatever form he's in. He could be dropping clangers every game and he'd still pick him. Yeah. England's top scorer, because his only decent asset is his aerial ability. And then the 200 appearances was under Ollie, like we just said, and we all know what happened there.
Yeah.
So there's information behind these things that he's saying that you just look at straight away and you go, that's the only reason why that's like that. That's only like that because of this. Now, granted, he has had a set performance where I've looked at it and I thought, he's done all right there. He's not been bad. He's been average. But I don't think I've ever watched him and been like, and thought, that's a similar performance to Varane, that. Or that's a similar performance to Lissandro. And they drop that relentlessly week in, week out. Like, their average performance is what Maguire can meet if he's at the standard.
Yeah, if he's at his best, pretty much. So... yeah, that's the thing. The quality drop-off is just massive. And that's the biggest factor, that the moment Lissandro walked into this team, he looked better than Maguire. I would even say that, when Eric Bailly played for us, alongside Harry Maguire, Eric Bailly looked better than him as well.
Yeah. A lot of people were calling it, including myself at the time, when he was Bailly had that little bit of form, and then people say, why is he not starting?
Exactly.
I don't understand it.
Yeah.
We get he's a little bit erratic, but is Harry Maguire not erratic when he goes? He tries shutting people down and gets spun by average players. Like, that's surely a risk as well. So it's worth the risk factor when you consider all variables.
Last season against teams like Burnley, we dropped points. I think Armando Broja, who was at loan at Southampton, he completely spun Harry Maguire. I cannot forget that moment, ever in my
18
life.
18 times, Shreyas, last season. You remember the video I did?
Yeah,
18 times. Maguire fucked up.
Yeah.
Single-handedly fucked up. Like, there was so many games, West Ham games, Aston Villa games, Leicester. Like, I could just name them off the top of my head, where he had single-handedly mistakes that led to a goal, and he's supposed to be the captain of Manchester United.
Exactly.
So, I'm glad we can put these quotes to bed and put them to the side and put them in the drawer of absolute nonsense. File it under nonsense, because that's what it is. Both quotes, absolute talking shit. It wound me up this morning reading that. So yeah, we'll put that to the side for now, and we'll discuss some actual proper stuff, which is the ownership situation Shreyas. Now, Qatar's Sheikh Jassim bin Hamad Al Thani, I can say that name so crisp now, like rolls off the tongue perfectly. He's got a debt-free world record bid to buy Manchester United, and it's just been submitted. Sheikh Jassim's improved second bid for United is described as highly competitive and will remove all debt from the club. Glazers want at least £6 billion. Qatar bid also said to be considered and rational. Thoughts on that, mate?
I think the first thing, once again, with this Qatari bid that came out, that I think it was being rumored that they're out of the race completely. They couldn't really judge the kind of bids that were coming in for United, and they ended up putting in a lesser bid. But now it turns out that they have by far one of the strongest bids in this race. Like, you could say the strongest bids in this race. Once again, the biggest thing that attracts people towards them are two things. They have a very good financial model, and they bring in a debt-free ownership. Like, they clear out the debt completely, and Manchester United can genuinely just work on profits. I think once again right now, I think it was yesterday or the day before yesterday that Finnish businessman came about, that he surfaced. I think there are still going to be a lot of people who will come up like that. So I'm just really confused at the moment, because I really don't know what kind of a plan and how these owners, whether it's Qatari or whether it's someone else, how would they genuinely like to progress with the club. Because right now we can just judge them on the fact of the bids that they're putting in, and whether it's a debt free, whether it's an investment based bid, whether it is a shared bid, or like the Finnish businessman that came about and said that there would be 50% fan ownership. So right now I'm genuinely really confused as to how things are going to progress, because no one has actually come out and said that this is our plan with Manchester United. We aim to raise this amount of money within the first 3 seasons. We would like to reinvest this amount of money into the stadium, this amount into the infrastructure. So I think till the time I genuinely see a good plan, like at least some hints as to what the owner actually wants to do with the club, I can't really put my heart out for anyone.
Yeah, I get it. I get that. And it's weird, isn't it? Because the past couple of days, it's been really up and down, up and down, up and down. And I was listening to, I know a lot of people don't like Simon Jordan on TalkSport, but I was listening to him yesterday because he obviously has experience in dealing with financials at a club, and he's been the owner of a club before. You can kind of take what he's saying, as credit and as what goes on. And he was saying the media in this situation are being pulled left, right, and centre by the Rain Group, by loads of people. So there's not a lot of clarity in there for what United fans can go off. That's the situation at the minute. Yeah. And I think both groups got word somehow that the next bids would be rejected at the prices that they were intended to submit, and then the delay had to have time increasing bid. So that's what was going on the past couple of days.
And that's the biggest thing right now, because I think this is the first time that even the media have actually zero clue as to thhow things are progressing.
Yeah,
like
you can go to Romano, is it, and you can be like,
they're putting in a revised bid, they're putting in a better bid, it is a strong bid. So
monitoring,
they're monitoring, they're assessing, they're looking at the competition. So it just shows that even the media have absolutely no clue as to what's going on with this bidding war. And by the looks of things, I think till the time it comes out officially that someone is out of the race, that's when you can actually believe it. Because the media generally don't know as to what amount of money is being submitted by Sir Jim or by the Qatari investment, or by like it was being said, a Dubai sovereign fund as well. So I think till the time it comes out in like clear text from Manchester United officially, don't believe anything. It could go either way.
Yeah, you mentioned the media there. Zoe's Media's house is in the chat, and say weird. How did you turn on automatic? Ghost in the machine, though. Your phone must just be programmed to real red now. Whenever we go live, it's just like, we put because you're going to watch us anyway. We'll just pop you on. Absolutely, no worries. Dan Raj in the chat saying this bidding reminds me of the Young bidding. Yeah, it does. Well, what about Sancho?
Yeah.
Remember how long that went on for? What about Bruno Fernandes? Remember how long that went on for? Me and Sam were saying this last night. Like, notoriously, we can't do anything quick. I know these things take time. You're selling, an asset that's £6 billion in the Glazers' words. It's going to take a bit, but they're going to drag this out for as long as they can.
They're going to try and drain every single cent that they can out of this club, like every single cent. If they believe that by delaying or dragging this deal by even one day and they can just get 10 cents more, they would do that.
That's it. Yeah, absolutely. And Mike Keegan, who's actually been one of the journalists who's been relatively good on this, who broke the Qatar story in the first place, he's saying there remains concern that they will seek an unrealistic sum north of £6 billion. Now, how frustrated would you be as a United fan, Treyas, if this either gets dragged on over the transfer window because the Glazers are being extra greedy, or it just gets dragged, for however amount of time it is because they're seeking an unrealistic fee?
I think that's the thing. The Glazers have, actually created a big problem for themselves by actually declaring to all these people that, the sale will be done by the first quarter. So going by the that statement, they've just got till April to drag this out. So I think the next I think by the next season, definitely we'll have new owners. And the next transfer window will be pretty interesting as to, I think Manchester United would like to, create a better image for themselves in the transfer window. Like even, other clubs would be, would be surprised to see us working on 2 deals at a time or 3 deals at a time rather than just working on one. Probably, we'll be smarter with the deals as well. But yes, I think by mid-April. I think by mid-April it will be official, but by the first week of April we'll be sure as to who's getting the club. And but it's going to be frustrating for the next for the next couple of weeks. It definitely is going to be frustrating because you could be seeing the media leaning towards a particular group, but then ultimately someone completely different ends up buying Manchester United. So right now you cannot actually believe anything that is coming out from the media side of things.
That's it. And Sam there kind of adding to what you were saying there, saying that Cavi is clueless, obviously referring to Sky Cavi. Anyone who watches him, I actually didn't mind him at the start. And now the more I see him now, every day it feels like he's saying the same thing. He goes, now, I'm going to do an impression with him with my fluffy pencil. Is it a pen or a pencil? I think it's a pen. Is it a pen? I brought me fluffy pencil now. No. I don't know what it is. It could be a pen or a pencil. But this is the impression he goes, now, the information that I'm receiving is it could be in tomorrow, it could be in next week, it could be in next month, it could be December next year. Like, he's just guessing. You don't have a clue. He's just saying, like, it could be there, it could be then. I can do that, mate. You want me to go to Sky Sports? Sky Sports watching that. I can go on there and I can do that. I can go, I think it might be this weekend, but it could be next week. I think Qatar are probably going to put in the most money. Saying the obvious things that everybody already knows, isn't it?
Yeah. Bruno's going to wear boots in the next game.
There you go. Yeah. Like, just guesstimating. My information, I don't know who he's contacting. I feel like he's just contacting someone in Qatar who's near the building and just saying, can you just come up with a fake quote for us just to see what we can get? Talk about fake bidding and fake what have you. This Thomas Zaliakas, talk to me about him, Treyas. He's increased his bid for Manchester United. And this is the geezer who was proposing the 50-plus scheme or whatever it was, what me and you was talking about, weren't we? What about this guy? Like, because he's made some appearances on Fan Channel. I've seen him on United Stand. I've seen him on a couple others. Like, do you see legitness in this? Do you think?
I think that's the thing. It could be legit. It could be just something for for him to actually get into the papers more. Probably get some publicity as well. You never really know with these people. Because has he actually put in a bid? Has he not actually put in a bid? Because most of these guys have signed NDAs as to, so, you don't really know as to what's going on with them. I think the only 2 people you can be sure of as to, they put in a bid are Sir Jim Ratcliffe and, the Qatari investment. But except that, you can just, go down and pinpoint anybody from Asia, from
could be a
Europe.
rabbit hole.
Yeah, could be from anywhere in the world. So I think it's just a little abrupt as to how he's operating with things. Like he just recently came out with the fan ownership. Now he's revised his bid already. So what kind of a dynamic is he actually working with? What does he actually want to do with the club?
It's funny, it's always Media House just put that Thomas guy looks like one of them dudes off Dallas or Dynasty or the Love Boat. Nick, remember the Love Boat? Yeah. It's hilarious. TS7 saying Thomas Zeliakis gives me Michael Knighton vibes. Yeah. He does. You know what I thought? I actually said that I saw Knight and I thought he was saying Dark Knight, like off the Batman. I was going to say, he does look a bit like a villain.
Yeah, but it does make sense. Like, it is very similar as to, how he came out with things. I have a consortium, I have this amount of money, we'll be submitting a bid, and it's pretty similar to that.
Yeah. But the thing is, right? Let me just throw something to you here. He's saying, all right, I'm gonna bid for the club. I'm gonna put $3 billion of my money in, and then the fans put $3 billion of theirs in. Obviously, we know that's going to be hard to get billions of United fans to agree on something and put money into it. But even if that happens, you're like, right, okay, that's fine. Then how are you going to fund, like we said, the stadium, the debt, the training ground, transfers, etc., right?
That's the thing.
Is he then going to say, all right, what you've all got to do is you've got to ask your nanas to put $3 in and your granddads to put $3 in, and then we can all do it as a community.
Yeah.
Like his plan is nice, but we said, didn't we? The execution seems well off, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, imagine like a million United fans spending $10, like $10 per United fan, and you raise. I don't even know how much money you will be allowed to raise after that. As to what are the FFP rules with fan ownership? Like what sort of a model is that? So can it even be used towards being used to the transfer window, or could it even be used in that sense? It's just a big. I mean, imagine that he actually comes into, he owns the club now, and the Premier League and the FA and just come out and say that you can definitely raise money through fan ownership, but that money cannot be used to fund transfer windows. So our transfer money and our transfer strength is already at 50%.
Yeah, so, that's it.
Yeah.
Dan saying, we've got Dan in the chat saying Qataris only can get us what we want. They're like that rich bridegroom. Yeah, I get what you're saying there. Sorry. He looks like the captain in that Love Boat. He does, Zoe. And TS7 saying his plans sound nice, but isn't factual at all. Seems like a bit of a dreamer to me. That's it. That's what. And if he is just trying to get publicity, it's probably worked, to be honest, because a lot of people know who he is. He's invested in sports. I think he owns part of HJK or HJF, which is a team in Scandinavia. I think it's a Finnish team or something like that. And I think they was actually in Real Betis's group, funnily enough, in the Europa League. So he's obviously got invested in sports, and this will raise his profile in terms of how many eyeballs are running. But the final line to this is, the idea is nice, but the execution will just be well off. It just will not work. Dad's saying as well, having 1 point of accountability is always better than multiple else. This will end up the blame game. That's it. Like, imagine if United fans got a decision on everything. Imagine the Greenwood situation. How many people have been saying online about Mason Greenwood and saying, he should be definitely back in the squad, he should be doing this, he should be doing that. Like, it's not always the best to have the majority vote for what they want. You need level-headed people at the top of the pyramid making these kind of decisions who have had experience in football before. The fans have some great opinions, including everybody who watches the show. They have great opinions, and I'm sure we have decent opinions as well because we watch them a lot. That's not always the right situation to say, right, we'll put them in charge of the club and put them in charge of everything that happens. Do you know what I mean? So, crazy one. Following comments to the poll you roll in, since Southgate and Kane took over, I haven't been able to stomach watching England games, and I haven't been for about 7 years. Oh, wow. Yeah. England, Treyas, how do you feel about them?
Once again, I made a bet with you that India will qualify for the World Cup before England wins the World Cup, actually, and it might actually happen. It genuinely might actually happen, and it would be a big achievement for me. So,
I'd celebrate that more than you know what I mean. But what England have been doing at the minute, I'm losing faith in it. Like the past 2 tournaments, you see me. I've been at the fan parks. I've been really into it. I've been really behind them, singing all the England songs. And now I've got to a point where I'm like, it's just you're not recycling anything. You're not changing anything up. You're not. It's just gone very stale at the minute. So England, as far as I'm concerned, can fuck off at the minute. I'm not asked about it. It's just United.
I'm actually going to put in something which might cause a lot of controversy, but I don't think Harry Kane. Yeah, I don't think Harry Kane was good at the World Cup or even at the Euros. Just my opinion.
I think you're probably right, to be honest.
I don't think he was great.
I find it hard to disagree with that because the main narrative that was going on during the World Cup was when's he going to start kicking into gear? When is he going to start doing this? And also the main agenda with Harry Kane has always been he can't win stuff. He bottles it at the big moments. You look at the Champions League final with Spurs, you look at the semi-finals in the Cups, you look at his England performances, notoriously he has bottled it quite a lot at the top level. And this obviously is interlinked with the United transfer trials, because if we go signing, a lot of people saying fantastic player, guaranteed goals, but does he guarantee you big moments in big games?
Can he do it during the big moments? Can he do it during the pressure moments? Like imagine, you're in a Champions League knockout stage, you have a pen, Harry Kane, steps up to take it, and similar to what happened during the World Cup, he completely blasts it off. So once again, it just comes down to nerves. I think a lot of other players completely outshined him during this World Cup tournament. I think even during the Euros, a lot of players managed to outshine him during the course of that entire Euros run. A lot of players came out. I didn't think Harry Kane had a great great outing in that tournament either. So that's the point. I don't think Harry Kane. I think he's an exceptional player, and I think in club football he's achieved some really major achievements. I think he's got the most goals for a Tottenham player as well. He recently got that record. He might as well break that all-time record of most goals scored in the Premier League, the way he's actually going right now. So there's no doubt about the kind of talent and the kind of player that he is. But I think when it comes to the big moments, when it comes to these big tournaments, I haven't really seen Harry Kane actually leading the team from the front. And he's the captain. He should be doing that. Like take any other team, for example. Like if Kylian Mbappe is the captain, he's actually leading the team from the front. Like you can see that in his face. You can see that mentality. Yeah, you could see that mentality completely throughout that French national team. Look at Portugal. Say what what you want about Cristiano Ronaldo, but when he's on the pitch, the team does respond to him. And in the big tournaments, he's actually come out and done bits for them.
But does do these records, like obviously beating Jimmy Greaves' record at Tottenham was fantastic because he had a big goal scoring record, and beating England, beating Wayne Rooney is fantastic as well. They're great achievements, but when you look back, I feel like there'll always be an asterisk next to Harry Kane's name because he's never won anything.
Exactly.
So it's all going to be the one club man and blah, blah, blah. And it was great with United players because he was a one club man and they won like 13 Premier League titles. So they've got...
And I think he's working with a better team. I think Harry... Comparing, looking down into, English strikers, like you right now just mentioned, he just broke the record of Wayne Rooney, scored 54 goals for the, English national team. I think he's working with a much better team that, Wayne Rooney actually worked with, like a better performing team. When it comes to the big tournaments, like England have been performing well in certain games. They've been getting out of groups quite comfortably, which didn't used to happen before. They used to struggle a lot in getting through the group stage. They've been doing that, but Harry Kane has never been the reason that they've actually gone out of the group. This time it was Marcus Rashford and Bukayo Saka. During the Euros, I think it more or less came down to their midfield. That the midfield was just so compact and tight that they didn't really concede that many goals. So I think from the attacking front, even Raheem Sterling has shined for England for quite some time, but not Harry Kane.
Yeah, I'm just going to read off a few comments because there's quite a few to get through. Make sure you smash the like on the video, by the way, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Sam saying, problem is, Zoe, with talent, we should have won a tournament, but haven't because Southgate's in-game management.
Dan saying, what qualification does Southgate have to be the manager? It's just like the same thing with Ollie, wasn't it, when he's got Cardiff relegated?
Exactly.
It was like, he's only got it because he's a legend. In fairness, Southgate, one thing I will say about him is the integration, how he's managed with the FA, because he managed at the under-21 level. He knows a lot of these guys that are in the team at the minute. And I think bringing the squad together, he's done a good job of that. But maybe someone else should have been doing that alongside a manager, if that makes sense. So he's saying Samuel. Oh, he's calling you Samuel. Your Sunday name, Sam. It's not about England winning. It's about I don't want to watch no Man U players winning for England. Most United fans don't support England unless United players are playing. Wow. Phillips starting for England when he has never started for City. I mean, that's another great point, Danny. Phillips gets no minutes at all.
Exactly. Maguire doesn't get any minutes for United, and he's still starting.
Exactly. Adam saying, to be fair, it's the history of Tottenham. We signed Sheringham from Spurs, didn't we? And he showed up the biggest moments. Yeah, Teddy Sheringham. Do you know what I was listening to the other day? I think Teddy Sheringham in the 99 season only scored like 5 goals, you know?
Yeah.
Something like that, which is crazy considering some of the, some obviously the stuff that we won. And then Sam saying, if we got a good manager for England with the talent, we'd have won tournaments, but we have an awful manager, so that's where we are, and people don't care. Yeah, lots of opinions, strong opinions on England, as you mentioned. I think this is Southgate's last tournament for England, the Euros. If he doesn't do well in this, it will be a new manager. I can pretty much guarantee you that.
I think the biggest fact is like any tournament that England have right now walked into, like if you ask them that, imagine you come up against a Brazil, an Argentina, example France before this tournament started, they didn't look confident, that they would be able to get a win out of that game. Like definitely they are strong opponents, but with certain teams, like if you ask an Argentina fan before the World Cup that do you see yourself making it deep into the tournament, they would have even before a split second they would have just said yes. So, and that is one thing that has been that instant mentality and that killer instinct has definitely not been there with England. And that is why in some big situations, I think they definitely should have won the Euros. They genuinely should have won that final. But I don't know why, but they just suddenly went over defensive in that game. They gave Italy the platform to actually come out and win that game. And I mean, Italy were nowhere to be found in that first half. Like genuinely, they were nowhere to be found in that first half. But they just invited the pressure, and then TA signed players like that. They are going to hurt you if you give them that freedom.
Yeah, it's true. TS Southern Mimic Tom is in the chat saying Maguire's head should be a domestic appliance. Yeah, fantastic. He also called Harry Kane vanilla as well. It's hard to disagree with them comments, to be honest. Adam saying, would you take Jose as an international manager? Very quick, would you take Jose, Shreyas?
Yeah, I think when it comes to knockout tournaments, he knows what he's doing. Like, I think having Jose as a manager for a club during the course of a season, I think that could be rough because the kind of football that he plays, it is kind of hard to watch at times when you're going over the course of a season. But when it comes to knockout tournaments, you don't have to maintain that consistency. You just need to go out there and do your job and come back, because it's just a one-off game when it comes to the knockout stages. And that is why I think Jose has been doing exceptionally well in these sort of tournaments. Like you see him in the Champions League, he's had some really, really great success in the Champions League. He's had great success in the Europa League, even in the Conference League. These are the sort of tournaments where Jose shines, because in these sort of games you can actually expect you've got 2 goals, you're 2 goals up and you just need to defend. And that's where Jose actually shines. And considering the strength that England have, you can actually go in the first half, play your football, get 2 goals, and then just park the bus in the second half. That's what Jose likes to do, and it can work well if he has the players for it. He didn't have the players for it at United. He didn't have the players for it at Tottenham. But whenever he has had his players, Jose has won trophies like Madrid. You see Porto. Even at United, he managed to. I think he's won the most trophies after Sir Alex. So definitely, I think,
it's in the proof's in the pudding, isn't it? With Jose, that's the difference. Whereas the proof in the pudding with Southgate is, I think, relegation with Middlesbrough.
Yeah.
Interesting, because we put a poll out at the start of the show saying, does Southgate's favouritism cost England? 84% have said yes, and 16% have said no. So I would love to know who that 16% is. And if you're still in the chat, put your reasons why, and we'll certainly discuss that, because I think that's very interesting. But everybody's entitled to opinion, of course. Zoe's Media House saying, England, Kane, Maguire, Southgate remind me of them posh, snobby, university boys like Boris Johnson. This is the reason for disliking the England setup. I mean, you are playing right into Sam's hand there with that comment. He'll absolutely love that. He'll be in his room now, he'll be clapping it like, yeah, well done. Fantastic. Again, hard to disagree with. They do have that kind of posh, snobbiness element to them. Harry Kane and Maguire look straight out of boarding school, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
But look, I don't want to slag the personalities off too much because, as I said before, I don't want to get too personal with the players. I just want to judge them on the performance. And when it comes to Kane and Maguire, they're at opposite ends of the scale, in my personal opinion. I want to discuss some of the international games last night, Shreyas. We'll start off with the worst ones, and then we'll move on to some of the favourite ones, and especially your favourite one as well. So we'll start off with Netherlands. So Weghorst got 33 minutes for him, and Malacia got 5 minutes against France. And they got absolutely slapped 4-0 of France. Not great, that is it, to be fair.
Definitely not great. And I think this was the first game for Mbappe as the captain for them, for the French national team as well. So one hell of a debut.
Did you take him?
Yeah. At United?
Mbappe?
No.
Why?
I don't think he's that number 9. I don't think he's that number 9 for us. He could be I think he can be an exceptional left winger for us. I think he can definitely be. I think if he does come, he would bring us goals. But I haven't really seen Mbappe that much as a striker. Like I've seen him doing bits as a winger. I think he could genuinely be one of the greatest players during the as he gets into the latter stages of his career. He definitely can be. He has the talent for it. He's shown in the World Cup final that he can just turn the game about. Like he doesn't need a team. He can do it on his own. But that's the point. I think Mbappe is a really good player, and I understand as to why people are drawn towards him. But is he that number 9 for us? Like we right now, I think what United need is a hybrid striker. Who knows how to when he needs to be explosive, he knows how to be explosive. When he needs to be more of a link up and more of a false 9 player, he can do that job as well. I don't think Mbappe can do that job. I think Mbappe is a really explosive player. And right now we've got Marcus Rashford as an explosive winger. We've got Antony as an explosive winger. We've even got Garnacho as an explosive winger. We don't have that hybrid striker at the moment. That is what is costing us goals.
Exactly. It all the way around him.
Yeah. Go on.
Sorry, go on.
Okay. And I think Martial can do the perfect job for us in that place, but he's always injured, so you cannot rely on him. So that's why we need a striker. And I think if Mbappe does come through, where does he fit into that squad? Does he fit in as a left winger, or whether he fits in as a striker? If he does fit in as a striker, I don't see him being that hybrid striker. I see him being as an explosive striker who likes to play on the front foot. That would dynamically change the role of Antony and Marcus Rashford in the squad as well.
Yeah. Just to throw it out there. So there's 10 people currently in the chat. Again, make sure you smash a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Would you... sorry, that wasn't the question. Ignore that. Where is Mbappe's next club will be ...
Yeah.
Let me know. Let me know in the comments where you think
Madrid.
Go to next. TS7 saying, bold statement saying you wouldn't have Mbappe. I don't like him, but he's probably the best player in the world.
He definitely
he definitely is. But then, does he fit in with the system?
That is why
that's the question.
I was so gutted when we didn't get João Felix. Like I think in this sort of a system, Felix would have flourished in this system. I think he is that hybrid striker that would work well. So I think that was a lost opportunity for us, but there are still really decent options in the market. I think Harry, when it comes to that hybrid striker role, Harry Kane, I think he is the perfect job for that role. I think he can interlink really, really well with the wingers. I think he, even when he has to circle the game about himself, Rashford and Antony can do that job as well in certain games. I think he offers us that versatility as well when we play with Harry Kane in this system. But you could go out and sign someone like an Osimhen who is still in a way a mystery player for a lot of these clubs. So Osimhen can work. I think Goncalo Ramos can work as well. And like you mentioned in an earlier show, that Ten Hag seems to like him a lot as well, and he's probably one of his first preferences to bring in next season. So right now, out of all of these options, Mbappe hasn't even been rumored by Ten Hag. So if Ten Hag doesn't want Mbappe, I really don't think we should go down that route.
That's fair. That's fair. We'll dive into that a little bit more. Just want to again read out some comments because comments are flying off. Daniel Raj put a super chat in. You can do that by clicking the super chat button and the little square with a dollar sign. Says Southgate to England is like giving a PS4 to play a PS5. Yeah, he's below the level. I think a lot of people can appreciate that. I mean, even myself, I was very strong on Southgate, but after the last tournament, I'm definitely thinking other ways and looking towards other managers who could potentially do a better job. TS7 saying, that being said, it's not realistic getting him anyway, I don't think. Yeah, that's it. I think the price that PSG paid for him and then the wages behind it, all this talk of
and
FFP.
We've introduced a wage cap. We've introduced a wage cap. So
like what's going to happen with that FFP? Are you going to pay, if you let Mbappe walk through the door and you pay millions a week, what is Marcus Rashford going to say? What is Casemiro going to say? What is Varane going to say? What is the rest of the senior players? And that's going to go, hold on a minute. He's earning 5 times as much as me. Why? Because Casemiro could say, I'm the best player in my position in the world. So you can't throw that argument at me.
Exactly.
That's the thing. If you could negate, for me personally, if you could negate all that kind of stuff around him being the president of the club and the money, etc., his talent alone, I don't care where you play him, I would bring him in because I think he's probably the best player on the planet. And I think you look at City with Erling Haaland right now, you need that caliber of player to keep up with them. Then players just clutch moments you can look at that World Cup final.
Exactly.
With Mbappe, unbelievable. In that 20 minutes towards the end of the game, that volley that he scored, you just like in that caliber of a game, you put your hands up on that, you'd be like, wow, that is unbelievable.
And that completely charged the team as well. Like the entire team was a shadow before that volley goal. But ever since that, France actually looked like they were actually competing in that final. So I do get your point. But once again, I think it does come down to Ten Hag. If he wants that sort of a striker, go get Mbappe, because I think if he does come, he'll score a lot of goals. Like when you mention like Harry Kane, you say that he's going to get you 20-25 goals. You can say the same about Mbappe, that if he comes in, he's going to score a lot of goals for us.
I think there's a handful of forwards on the planet right now who scare defenders, legit scare defenders, who, when they know they're coming up against him, they're like, it doesn't matter how quick I am, doesn't matter how good I am. If he decides to turn his burners on in a second, he gets past you in seconds. That's how quick he is. He's absolutely electric. And he's deadly in front of goal as well. Harris saying Trashford. Oh, come on, come on. Marcus Rashford. If you would have said that last season, I would have PM'd you personally and said, you're right. This season, he's been one of the most informed players. You talk about Mbappe there. He's had a better output.
He scored more goals than Mbappe since the World Cup.
Yeah. So I'm not having none of that Trashford nonsense. Piss off. More than welcome to the channel, though. So, yeah. The Maguire quote comment, I do agree with. The TS7 saying, how do you pay the subscription for this? So, if you want to become a real Red Ultra, you get exclusive content, you get a badge next to your name, and you get a chance to feature on the show, which we'll do a draw live when we've got enough members to finger. You can click the join button, which is next to the notification bell. Now, iOS users, so people who are on Apple phones, you have to do it through the internet or do it through a link, I think. For some reason, iPhones don't put it on. I have no idea why, but you just have to go and basically go on the internet and do it through that way.
And if you can't find that option, you can just, click on the super chat button. On the live chat option, you can see it at the bottom right hand of your screen. $sign is made, so you can use that button and actually use the super chat to actually communicate with us as well.
Again, loads of chat. I just want to get into these comments because a lot of them are interesting. Adam saying, I'm more confident than I was last year getting him. I think Madrid have washed their hands with him after last summer. He's PSG's top goal scorer, and we have Frenchmen here. Next challenge is the EPL. Well, the Premier League's it's gaining a lot of attraction now, isn't it? That's the next destination.
Yeah, because right now,
Osman, for example, was saying Premier League. I want to play there. Everybody wants to come in now. It's sort of becoming a Super League.
I think why Madrid is now looking like a lesser option is because I think Perez came out with something, and a lot of Madrid outlets are reporting that they're looking at Kvaratskhelia next season to bring in, like the next big player for them to come in is him. So if he does come in, Mbappe doesn't really need to come in because they've still got Rodrigo, they've still got Vinicius, Benzema is still flying high in form, so there's no need for Mbappe at the moment at Real Madrid. I think Mbappe, if he would go into the past, he would move to Madrid and not stay at PSG, but Yeah, I think if he does become available, probably the Premier League is the next destination for him. It definitely is. I think the Premier League right now has got the best managers, the best players, and by far the most competitive league across the entire Europe. And yeah, that's the thing. Like you mentioned, Osimhen, Kylian Mbappe could be one of them who could follow that route as well. Lautaro Martinez, a lot of these players, a lot of them are being rumored to come into the PL, and the Premier League actually has that spending power as well to get all of these players in. United, you've got City, you've got Chelsea, you've got Arsenal, you've got Tottenham, and all of these clubs. Whatever you say about them, they do make this league competitive.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, we have a new member squad. Daniel Raj has become a member. Exclusive content. You get a badge next to your name, like I said. And what was the last bit? Exclusive content, a badge next to your name.
Yeah.
Members a chance to feature.
Yeah.
Chance to feature on the show. So thank you very much for that. Like we said, you can just click the join button next to the notification bell if you want to do that. The squad's getting bigger and bigger. We'll have starting 11 before we know it. So that's nice. Starting substitutions and reses and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, fantastic. Appreciate the comments. But we did get slightly sidetracked, Treyas, with the international things, and we went down the Mbappe rabbit hole.
Exactly.
So back a little bit.
Back to the international matches.
Yeah, back into the other games. So Austria, Sabitzer, got 2 goals and an assist for Austria. Do you see his free kick?
Yeah.
Ooh, absolute belter, that wasn't it?
Sign him up.
Yeah, sign him on a permanent.
Yeah.
Would you sign him?
Give it 1 more month.
I agree. So not a great sample to go off yet, is it?
Yeah. I mean, he's shown bits. He's been good. I think he's better than Fred and McTominay. Definitely he is. But is he consistent? That's what I just need to see, because if he fits that job, sign him up, and then you've got Eriksen, and then you've got Sabitzer in that 8 role, and I think that's a really good mix to have as rotation. Like you've got Christian Eriksen and you've got Marcel Sabitzer to rotate in that number 8 position alongside Casemiro and Bruno. Arguably, you could say best midfields in Premier League.
Yeah, I can't wait to get Eriksen back, because I think he started training again now, hasn't he?
Yeah.
So by the start of April, we should. Yeah,
he's still on the assist chart. Even though he hasn't played for so long, he's still on the assist chart. He got 7 assists already.
Criminally underrated for me, I think. The last one we'll touch on, Trez, is Maguire. Palestra played 90 minutes for his national team as well in a 1-1 draw against Japan. I don't know if you saw the game. I'm only guessing, but talk to me. Are you happy with his performance?
Yeah, was overjoyed to actually see him start when I was awake, not carrying that United curse. So yeah, and I think he had a really good game. Like the way he was dribbling. One of the things that that have been constant whenever he's played for United, and even when he's played for Uruguay, is he's fearless, and he actually wants to take on defenders and run past them, and that's what you could actually see.
Like Garnacho,
exactly,
well, right?
Yeah, like Garnacho, and that's what they bring from both of these flanks, like the left and the right hand side, and that's what makes them more dangerous. He was being fouled a lot because actually those defenders really didn't know how to actually come up against someone like him. He was actually really, really rapid. He's got loads of pace, and his ball control is just absolutely for his age, it's actually really, really great. He could genuinely be getting constant minutes with United now. I genuinely think so. And if I'm going to be honest with you, I think he can even play as a 10. Like the way he actually plays his game, he can actually do that job as a number 10 as well. But off the wing as well, from that right hand side, I think in that Uruguay system, he is actually fitting in really perfectly. And that's why the manager has been picking him non-stop for the past 2 years. So I think he had a very good game against Japan. Once again, Japan is a really good team. Like we saw what they are capable of doing at the World Cup against the big teams as well. So against the likes of a team like Japan, I think he was actually really, really decent. Once again, when he was being signed, Diego Forlan came out and actually had a lot of positive things to actually say about him. So he's just showing that.
Well, Uruguay clearly trust him, don't they, Treyas?
Yeah, they
clearly trust him.
They definitely do.
They threw him in a lot of games for his age. It's like considering Garnacho has only just been called up for international duty, obviously missed that because of injury. But they've got a lot of trust in him, man.
Yeah.
And you've been banging this drum for a while. It's nice because me, you, and Sam, and a few of the other lads on the channel have been saying we've been pushing for like Ahmad, for Garnacho, for Leicester, for other players. And Maybret, and we're saying these guys deserve minutes, they're talented. And they're starting to show that now, which is nice, I suppose. Yeah.
He started almost every game for them at the World Cup as well. Like for the Uruguayan national team to actually be, being picked every single game at the World Cup. Just, it shows that, you've got something. And Uruguay are a good side. Like, they were being rumored to be, actually dark horses for the World Cup. So once again, I think he's been getting constant minutes for Uruguay. Now he's actually starting to get minutes for the Manchester United team as well. And I think he can actually be a very, very decent backup to Antony. He the job that Rashford does, Rashford and Garnacho have. Like Garnacho comes in at times for Marcus Rashford when Rashford moves up to that number 9 position or switches wings or plays more centrally. Garnacho comes in. You can do that with Antony as well. And you need to have that person to come in for Antony because from what I've seen, Antony, I think he can be a very, very deadly player. I think Ten Hag can actually make him someone who defenders really don't want to come up against. In the last game against Fulham, when he came on, I think he looked really good.
He did.
I think he was very unfortunate not to score that goal when he dribbled past their entire defensive line. I think that was exceptional from him. Like the best play I've seen from Antony so far since we've signed him. Like he completely went down their entire midfield and defensive line by himself, almost scored that goal as well. And I think when for that Sancho handball as well, he was the one who gave that pass to Sancho. So he looked really sharp and he looked really aggressive when he came on. So if you want to keep that, that's the thing. If Antony is consistent with that, you've got a really, really decent attacking lineup from Rashford on the left and Antony of the right. If Antony is not doing that job on a constant basis, bring in Pellistri, make him more competitive, make that spot up for grabs. Probably you get the best out of both of them.
Yeah. It's a weird one, Antony, isn't it? Because when he's out, we really miss him. And
exactly.
You miss his.
He's like Eriksen. He's genuinely like Eriksen. Like,
brings.
He's genuinely like Eriksen in our team that, when Eriksen was playing for us week in and week out, people were saying that, his physicality is an issue, his lack of pace is an issue.
But he unlocks. He unlocks defences. That's
exactly.
The thing. And Antony holds that width on the right hand side. He has great work rate on there as well. And a lot of the time when he's with Dalot or if he's with Wan-Bissaka, he always offers them kind of underlaps or the overlaps and that part is there. But I think Pellistri is is definitely banging on the door at the minute, 100%. And I think that's the reason why they're probably going to offer him a new contract as well. So it's nice to see that with all the youngsters. And it's going to be interesting pre-season when Hannibal gets back, when Ahmad gets back, when
Hannibal,
what's going to happen.
Garnacho, Pellistri. We've got practically 4 wingers who can play for an entire 3 positions. So and if you go,
and Ten Hag merits it on if you're good enough, you'll get game time.
You might be seeing Ahmad actually getting more starts next season. You genuinely might. We could see these young players actually being fit in, and I think that's what makes it more interesting because that is what will go on to show as to what we actually need in the next transfer window. Do we need we genuinely need a striker, but do we need another forward? I don't think we need another forward. I actually don't think we need another cam as well. I think these guys can do that job of when Bruno is tired. I think you've got Eriksen as well. Now that you've got Sabitzer, the only thing left is getting a striker. Getting another midfielder who can back up Casemiro, and except that if Maguire leaves, get another centre back. I think after that squad is complete.
Yeah, absolutely. It's A3 in the chat saying Southgate and Dan replying to that saying until they win the World Cup. Yeah, that's what it feels like at the minute. I think this is his last tournament. And if you're new A3 to this, first time I've seen your name, so welcome to yourself. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and smash a like on the video. Anyone's welcome on this channel. It's always nice to see new people. So thank you so much for your comment. Yeah, I think that's pretty much. I think we can wrap it up there, Shreyas, to be fair. Spoke about everything we need to. Of course, if anything else breaks today, tomorrow, whenever, we will go live. So make sure you turn on that notification bell so you don't miss a thing. If you want to follow us on social media, the social popping off at the minute. Instagram's doing really well. Type in Real Red Talk or the link is in the video description. TikTok, Twitter's doing really well now as well. If you want that kind of regular, up-to-date news every 5-10 minutes, Twitter will be your feed for that. And then TikTok's just have funny clips from the shows, from the watch-alongs, etc. So you're covered on a full platform basis. Incredible. Thank you for coming on, Shreyas. Really appreciate your time.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I think the way the show progressed, a lot of things need to be cleared out as well.
Absolutely.
a lot of nonsense came out today.
Cobwebs, just dusting the cobwebs off. You know what I mean?
Definitely. And yeah, I think once again we're going to be live pretty much every single day. And with this ownership thing, if you want to be updated with everything, please make sure to stick around with the channel. And yeah, we're getting nearer to that 1400 subscriber mark, so please help us achieving that target.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you want to become a member, this but you get an exciting opportunity for exclusive content, badge next to your name, and a chance to feature on the show. So if you want to be in the starting 11 on the Real Red Ultras, just click the join button next to the notification bell, and you can do that, and you'll receive exclusive content every single week. And it helps support the channel, and it helps us get other guests on. Like this next week, we've got Jay Motti coming on from Paddock, we've got Jonathan Schrager, and we're working on a really big one as well to come on the channel. So that only helps us push it up to the next kind of level, and that's because of you guys. So thank you very much. Have a lovely weekend, and we'll see you in the next one.
Yeah.
Peace.
Yeah.